I thank the chair and appreciate all our member friends being here today. This is a big deal, and it's important for us to, I think, we don't do this in my other committee, but to be able to come together and talk together like this, hear from people that are outside the committee, and that doesn't happen enough, and so I'm grateful we're doing this. And since we are, I have a case that was just decided, which makes some legislation I filed, a companion to the Senate bill that would outlaw female genital mutilation, be called the Federal Prohibition Female Genital Mutilation Act of 2019. We've been told, well, we're not going to take that up because that's in the courts and, you know, it looks like it'll take care of itself. Well, it did. And yesterday we got the report that the Sixth Circuit had struck down Congress's effort to intervene and have female genital mutilation considered illegal. That's effort's been struck down. And so it makes this HR 3583, like I say, it's got a Senate companion, and it's exactly the same, so we could get this into law and start protecting young girls and women very quickly. And the ranking member, Mr. Collins from Georgia, is co-signed on, as the former chair, Mr. Sensenbrenner, is, and numerous others. So I would encourage the majority, let's go ahead and bring this bill. Let's do it. I found out just before we started the committee that actually there is a new bill being prepared that's almost identical. It references the Sixth Circuit, but so the majority can file it. And of course, the line here in Washington is, it's amazing what you can get done if you don't care who gets the credit. But I think it'd be better to use 3583 because it has a Senate companion. We could get this into law. We could be protecting young girls and women from the horrible brutality that so many have had to experience. And one other thing I would like to bring up is, I know OGR had hearing on DC statehood. The founders carved out this area, the District of Columbia, from Maryland and Virginia, 10 square miles, because they did not want any jurisdiction be able to hold them up and have that kind of power. And statehood would change the entire thinking of the founders of having this enclave that was a federal enclave. And it bothered me when I first got to Washington. I saw the license plates, you know, taxation without representation. And then I got to thinking about it. Well, wait a minute, that is something very important to us. And Ben Franklin said, if we don't elect one member of parliament, then they have no right to ever put any tax on us. And then I found out Puerto Rico, they don't have a federal income tax. Mariana Islands, Guam, you know, all of these territories that don't have a full voting member, they don't pay federal income tax. The District of Columbia does not have a full voting member. They pay federal income tax. That really isn't right. So in all but one of the sessions, since this first came to my attention, I filed a bill, and it's should be finished today, to refile it again in this session, and that is no federal income tax for the residents of District of Columbia. They do not elect a full voting member of Congress. They should not, just like Puerto Rico, all our other territories, they shouldn't have to pay federal income tax. If the majority prevails at some point and they have a full voting representative, then yes, it would be okay to have a federal income tax. But I still think it is grossly unfair that we treat them in a way we don't treat any other territory, any other non-state. And so I hope we'll do that for the people of Washington, D.C. It's really an injustice, and it does bring to mind some of the slogans that fired up people in the revolution. So those are two things that I would hope the majority will take up: protecting girls and women, and treating the residents of the District of Columbia like we treat everybody else that doesn't elect a full voting member. And I thank the chair for indulgence. Thank you very much, and thank y'all again.